The irony is, if those students knew anything about history, they would realize it's George Washington that they have to thank for the fact that they can spew their hate towards Jews on their campus. They should be praying at his feet, not covering his face with a keffiyeh. Campus after campus, we have seen them cross the line from free speech into lawlessness, and the lawlessness must be corrected. The cops must be sent in, or we're going to get a whole lot more just like it.
Yeah,
it is one thing to go out there and spew your slogans. It's quite another to block the access of Jewish students, to take over as encampments, to hijack buildings. All of those things are unlawful and should be reined in, and it's happened too few and too late in too many examples.
And it does seem, in some level, to be escalating. Police at the University of Texas in Austin, Texas, found protesters there had buckets of rocks and bricks and chains and literature saying things like, rocket attacks on Zionist settlements are justified and glory to Gaza. Half the people arrested there weren't even students.
We've seen that in campus after campus, that now infamous shot of the custodian inside of Columbia University trying to get one of the protesters out. It was somebody who was 40 years old. He owns, or at least he owns, a $2.5 million condo, and his parents own one that's worth $3 million. Who sent him there? He's not a Columbia student. And over, we've seen people who are beyond college age participating in these protests. Now, that does not excuse what the students themselves are joining in and supporting. We've seen on campuses like UNC Chapel Hill, UCLA, across the country, bands of students standing up trying to block the access to the campus of Jews, asking the Jews to try to explain themselves as to why they want to enter into their so-called encampments, in other words, the quad, in order to walk across to their classes. That's unacceptable in the United States of America.
Yeah, and it's amazing that somehow anybody would think that's justifiable. Senator Josh Hawley today called for an investigation into who's funding these radical student groups. Politico reported also that George Soros and the Rockefeller Foundation are backing one of these groups, leading the Elie Wiesel Foundation to say, why is the Rockefeller Fund giving significant grants to Jewish Voices for Peace, a group which blamed the October 7th attacks on Israel and the United States instead of Hamas?
It has a very nice name, but it's anything but pro-Jewish and pro-Israel. Jewish Voices for Peace is it's not any of those things, frankly. It's a good question, but Rockefeller, this whole group and this investment has been very questionable for a long time. They're hard left. And Pritzker's, too, that's another one. The governor of Illinois is one, and that family's been hard left in funding not only this, but the radical trans ideology that we've been seeing in school after school. Bill Gates had invested to the fund that is in making some of these tents available and so on. So it's our richest billionaires who are working together to fund some of the activism, which makes sense. How else do they have perfectly coordinated tents overnight, right? These kids. Again, though, I am all about personal responsibility. And while they might be getting the money from the billionaires, they're making the choice to harass Jews by themselves. And for that, they have themselves and their parents and ultimately their universities' indoctrination to blame.
Yeah, we just had, 13 conservative judges announce that they will refuse to hire any students who come from Columbia University.
And it should expand well beyond that. I mean, look what's happening at Stanford. I mean, look what happened at Stanford Law when they harassed that one judge from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals who tried to go out there and speak to them about legal cases. Campus after campus after campus has shown a total intolerance for conservatives, and they already should have been put on the no-go list for our sitting federal judges, and now it's turned into a battle. I mean, this whole thing by those folks has been reduced to race.
Yeah.
Israel's the bad guy because Jews are white, and Palestine and Hamas are the good guys because they have brown skin. It's the dumbest rationale ever, but it's played out on our campuses for years now.
I really am not sure what it is they're teaching in these history classes to these kids about the history of the world. And by the way, sales of keffiyeh scarves have gone up 75% overall, but more than 100% for the female version. This is a symbol of Palestinian resistance. You see it everywhere now.
I'm waiting for them to put on their little Uyghur scarves. Where is it just
where are
the
those?
Palestinians? Is it just the Muslims who are fighting Jews that we care about? Because there's an actual genocide happening right now in China against the Muslim minority there. And these people have no idea how to spell Uyghur. They don't care about oppressed Muslims. They don't like Jews. That 9 times out of 10 is the motivation for the most virulent who are watching on campus. And it's obvious to anybody. The rest have Selma envy. They think they missed the civil rights movement, and this is going to be the big cause of their life. They need to find religion, actual religion, go back to Sunday services, get something in your life that matters other than this false religion of wokeism. They need to see other human beings. They need to spend time outdoors, smelling the fresh air and getting some physical exercise, and stop the time on TikTok. All of that is part of the problem.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.